College. Malo soy fuelo susunga. Sose, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Hello, everybody.
Well, Sose,
Awesome to be here.
great to have your company this afternoon too, Sose. Just being Samoan Language Week, which village or villages you're representing this afternoon?
Potasi and Sapapali. That's
Ve-
where my father's heritage is. Yeah.
Very good indeed. Now, Sose, of course, with the speech competition, Tautai School Samoan speech competition, can you give us
Mhm.
an overview, firstly, of tomorrow's program?
Yeah, so tomorrow's program kicks off at 9 o'clock in the morning, celebrating our independence. So we'll be having our flag raising ceremony outside in the college's flagpole, celebrating 60 years. Yeah, my parents had a party that year. That's when I was born, 1962. Good year.
Very good year indeed. In terms of some of the schools that are competing, tell us about
Mhm.
that, Sose.
So the background is Tautai Moana is a initiative that's born out of the New Zealand Pacific Principals Association. In the last Pacific Plan, it was awarded a small amount of money, and I say small because $4 million over a few years isn't a lot of money, but it is to work principals for us. We're principals, all of us in Tautai Moana are principals or past principals, and we work in schools with high Pacific population. There's a cohort in Auckland, a cohort in Wellington, and really excited. In a few weeks, we're about to launch and have a whono down on the South Island with about 9 principals who are going to join us under Jeff Siave, who's going to run the White Te Waiponamu group. Yeah. So anyway, there's 18 schools in Wellington and it runs from Levin. So I have schools this year, Levin, over in the Hutt Valley, almost all of the Porirua schools, and I have a school in Tawa. So yeah, really excited. It's colleges and primary schools, but this competition tomorrow is for our primary school and it is hosted at the college. So what a beautiful thing to do, to be hosted by the big kids in the Samoan unit at Porirua College. It's going to be amazing. Second year running. So I don't know if you know Fatili. He is the principal of Sutton Park in Auckland. He's been harassing me for years to run a speech competition under Whangasa, and I haven't had the space to do this, but this activity, this one kind of big activity that we do together is a really good learning experience for the principals and leaders in the schools that I work with, because, you know, a lot of them are Parangi. So accessing or connecting with community can be a challenge. And this is a great activity to really, you know, after this we'll do a review. It's really good to unpack how it went, what happened, what were the gains, and how can we support each other to make 2023, which will be the third one, absolutely out of this world. So yeah, second time. And in all my years of being a principal in Wellington, we've never had a Samoan speech competition. So at our level, at primary level. So it's pretty exciting.
Exciting indeed. What was the feedback from the first year that you ran the speech
Oh,
competition?
listen, I was freaked out, Ma. I didn't expect the number of people in Porirua College Hall. Seriously, that hall was overflowing. There were over 300 people turned up to support the children. So that showed us this needed to be done. And, you know, okay, I can't change the past, but I can just make sure that this carries on into the future and maybe grow it beyond our Tautai schools. It would be a big job to run all of Wellington in a speech competition. In Auckland, you guys are seasoned. You have your language units. We don't have any in Wellington. It's a crisis. Our languages are at a crisis point, and you know we really need to ensure a pathway for our kids from Aongamata right through to college. There's this huge gap. Go to Aongamata, you go to a primary school in Wellington, there are no bilingual units being offered, then you can go to college and study again. Only 50% of our people, 182,721 Samoans live here in Aotearoa. Only 50% are speakers of our language. And that's going to get worse as generations go on. And it's something we should all work really hard to maintain. You know, talk about sustainability. That's what all of our language weeks are about. In order for us to do that, even just to maintain it at 50% is going to be a challenge. So we need to come out of, well, hey, Auckland, yeah, but we need to make sure we're offering pathways outside of Auckland for our kids. Ministry of Education does. Yeah.
Most definitely. in regards to the competition, can you tell us a bit about the judging panel, and some of
Sure.
the
Yeah.
criteria for, judging criteria, please, Sose?
Yeah, sure. So it comes directly. So as I said, Fa'atili gave me the sheets that you guys use in Auckland. And so basically we have used the whangasa sheets, but, for us and encouraging our parents to participate, it is around participation. So I deliberately don't call it the whangasa speech competition. However, it is based on their criteria. We have 3 quality judges. Wha'avai Malo is a retired teacher, very experienced, very knowledgeable, and is a judge of the competition at whangasa level. We have Reverend Konofere Nise. He's a local church minister. And we also have, coming on board this year, we have Rosetta Ipuli, and she's fantastic. She's a community person with great passion. And so, so the criteria is the same as they would use for whangasa, and they're scored and checked, and there's, looking at as if you were having an English competition. So you're looking at your structure, the delivery, how they're using because the theme is the topic for the competition. So there'll be sort of points scored. And then, I don't know, at the end of the day, I haven't gone for cheap cups. I've gone for really expensive cups. Thank you, Tautai. They've supported it. Yeah. And why? Because I've heard stories about kids who get a cup and it ends up in Samoa. Because, it's not just us on our own. It's our whole ainga. You're laughing there. It's true. I've heard 2 stories recently where people have gone to Samoa and then they've seen in the back of the whale, there's a cup, beautiful, pride and place. One woman told me about it was a little wee one from the $2 shop, a little plastic jar. Trust me, I went out and spent big money to get a quality cup that says, yeah, I'm going to be around forever. The
And
grandchildren will see their grandparents' cups
yeah,
sitting on the mantle.
and it doesn't matter how many times on the day you say, okay, we're going to have photos, but then please can you return the trophy for next year's
Yeah,
competition?
exactly.
Oh, my
No,
life. Oh, yeah.
no.
Now, Susie, in regards to the students that are competing tomorrow in their schools
Yeah.
and families, how are they feeling in the build-up with the nerves and that? What have you heard?
I've heard lots of nerves. I've actually just really sadly heard one school whose student has withdrawn because their parents just don't think their Samoan's good enough. And for us, like I said, I think, that's that whole thing. We're not risk takers. If I'm not going to win, if I'm not going to be successful, I might shame my family. But actually, we need to get over that. And this is about participation. And as I said, with only 50% of us actually speaking the language, we need to get over that. So in a way, I want to kind of really emphasize that to all of our tautai. So when we do the analysis and the conversations afterwards, we'll be looking at that. But I've had one withdraw because their parents don't think his Samoan's good enough. So we need to turn that around.
Definitely. And it's so sad because the importance, and I want you to touch on this, you've already touched on
Yeah.
it, but talk a bit more about the importance of having these types of initiatives, especially in the first year. You had such a great turnout, the need for these types of initiatives to increase that 50% mark, but also just to, help with the parents, because how many of us that growing up, 70s and 60s, whatever, that we didn't have these types of opportunities that are now readily available for our children?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's great work being done with Dr. Raisi Ilata around bilingual education. I'd have to say the ministry, I'm going to congratulate the ministry. They've really stepped up lately to actually really acknowledge the huge need that there is out there for our people, all our peoples. I think about our realm nations. I think of Cook Islands, and only 9% of their population living here in Aotearoa actually speak Māori. That's almost beyond, support, how are they going to revive that? That's a huge challenge to overcome. And then your next biggest worry is how many of us are actually going into teaching? I ask you that, Ma, very few. I mean, my parents, they wanted the doctors and the lawyers, but we need teachers. We need people who are passionate about the future of our nation. And so we need them to lead schools. We need to grow our teachers too. We need to grow our teachers from teaching in the classroom to principalship, because that's where you make the decisions about direction of your school, strategic direction, and what's important. And language, culture and identity is vital in terms of self-efficacy, kids feeling good about who they are. It's critical. So there's many ways to attack this, but a start is something like this initiative and then keeping it going. I've just got to keep this going.
Very
I can't
good.
walk away.
Very good. And I love your Samoan choice of words there. Attack, makwai, attack. Hey, so that's good. We love it. Now, Sose, for all our listeners tuning in from Porirua and the Wellington region, details for tomorrow and what is it, a ticket or people can just turn up? How's it going to work tomorrow?
Please come along. Please come along and support. We feed you. Yeah, we do a proper big, not a little plate. We've got a proper, individual containers, very COVID conscious here. So, you'll get your own little container, will have a big piece of chicken and chopsy and rice and yum, yum, yum. So we will feed you. So come along, we feed everybody. But we just want people to come and support this. And, I cried. I was the only one who spoke English last year. And I don't want to get up and talk tomorrow. I was nervous about coming on and speaking English because my parents raised us speaking English, only understanding English and speaking English. I don't understand Samoan. So what's funny is watching all of us that don't speak it sort of sit there and laugh along with the jokes. More, he's the MC. He's fantastic. He's funny. But the minute he starts talking, he does not speak one word of English. And he just brings that whole, you got that feeling in that hall, and that whole room is just laughing and talking, the spontaneity, the dancing. And we didn't need to speak Samoan because we totally got it. We totally could see in our kids and our parents and our community how much they enjoyed the day, because it's about building that connection. And then for the Tautai principals and teachers, building on that connection. Don't just have the one day and let it go. But now we've done that. How do we connect them more to the learning of our tamaiti? Yeah.
Very good indeed. Facilitator Tautai ole Moana Sose Annandale, Tautai Schools Samoan Speech Competition tomorrow, Wednesday the 1st of June, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Porirua College PC, 64 driver Cres in Cannons Creek, Porirua. Thank you so much for your time, Sose. Really appreciate it. Whaftai and all the very best for tomorrow. God bless. E manuia.
Whaftai lava. Whāsui fua.
Whāsui fua.